First, let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming, to Master Sakya Zhengkong, to the 16th Dharma King Karmapa, and Master Dukden Dorji. Homage to the main deity of group practice, Medicine Buddha of the Eastern Lapis Lazuli realm. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. All Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, temple directors, all fellow disciples present here and over the webcast. And our guest of honors today, the wife of the previous Ambassador General of TECO, Dharma Sister Judy, accountant to the True Buddha Foundation, Dharma Sister Teresa, attorneys to the True Buddha Foundation, Miss Odama Sister Zhou, and the wife of the Board of Director of the Overseas Credit Warranty Fund, Miss Vivian Shi. The producers for the Illuminating Your Heart of CTI TV Taiwan, Miss Rebecca Su and her assistant, Miss Sally Tam, and Dr. Lin Su-Hua, and from Taiwan, Pingtung Science and Technology University, the assistant professor Ye and her son. And the founder and the member of the World Women Association in Seattle, Ms. Tan. And from the Asian Businesswomen Association, the president, Ms. Huang. And for all of us who think that we're guests of honors, let's applaud. When I was in Taiwan, I would spoke in Taiwanese. Good afternoon, how do you do? But here, it's Cantonese. How are you? How do you do? Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Today we practice the Medicine Buddha, and this deity left a very strong and vivid impression on Grandmaster. That was in South Korea. There was a really huge Medicine Buddha there, very tall and standing Medicine Buddha. At that time, I visited Korea and I was sick. And I felt that my brain was exploding and the four elements are dissipating. At those times, even to wear shoes, it's really very difficult. And when I looked down, I felt as if I'm passing out. And I have written about this sickness in my book. And we went to Korea, and Korea was also a Buddhist country. It's a Buddhist country because from India, Buddhism was transmitted to China, to Taiwan, to Japan, to Korea, and to Southeast Asia for the Hinayana. And Korea is close to China. So Korea received the Buddhist culture and influence very quickly. So they are Buddhist followers, and they have a lot of Buddhist temples there. And I saw Medicine Buddha, and then I bowed and paid homage on my 5 points. Full body prostration is rarely performed. That's mostly done in Tibet. But for most of us, we use our head and face to make the prostration. So maybe Medicine Buddha was so tall and saw like an ant bowing there, and he paid special attention because my homage was different. And on the way back on the car, as soon as I closed my eyes, I saw Medicine Buddha. It's very real, and it was very vivid. A strong impression, including the sunlight Bodhisattva, moonlight Bodhisattva, and Medicine King Bodhisattva, Muslim Supreme Medicine Bodhisattva, and the 12 medicine generals. I saw them all. They appeared one by one for me to see, and I was very grateful to the blessings of Medicine Buddha. And then I knew that my sicknesses would be game over, will be gone. That's good. So if you have the earnesty, the sincerity, then the Buddhas would be responsive. So seeing Medicine Buddha, it was very clear, and it was a very vivid impression. And that was in a place called Shinju. The place that we went to was very far. The Buddhism was flourishing there. And we also saw the many-jewel Buddha pagoda. That was rarely encountered. But in Korea, we saw that, the many-jewel Buddha pagoda. So today, we did the practice of Medicine Buddha. And we're very grateful to Medicine Buddha to bless me at that time, so that all the sicknesses and pains of my body were totally alleviated. And today we will continue to expound on the 9 stages of the Great Completion Dharma. So we will talk about the origin first, before we talk about the lineage. But actually the origin is the same as the lineage. All Buddha Dharma flowed from the ultimate and perfect realization of the Buddha. At that time, Samantabhadra, or the Kuntung Changmo, which is the first Buddha of all Buddhism, which is Adi Buddha, the primordial Buddha, which is the first and earliest Buddha, called the Samantabhadra Buddha, or Atta Erma, Kuntung Jampo. And from his ultimate realization flowed the great completion Dharma. And between a Buddha and a Buddha, they have the same heart essence. Once you attain Buddhahood, you would know where there is a Buddha or who is a Buddha. You would feel it. And for a Buddha, when he flowed out the 9 stages of the great completion, then immediately the 5 Dhyani Buddhas would comprehend the great completion Dharma, which are Vairocana Buddha, Amitabha Buddha, Akshobha Buddha, Ratnasambhava Buddha, and Amoghasiddhi Buddha. These 5 Tathagatas would immediately gain the great completion Dharma, and also all the other Buddhas would know. So this Buddha Dharma, in our lineage, what is it called? Ching master, there was a Ching master, had a term that said that's a mind seal. It's not that you're giving a seal or chop on your heart, but it means that my heart is the same as your heart. So when I admit this Dharma gate, all the Buddhas would receive this Dharma. So this is when the heart seal another heart. So only the Dharma gate where one and another are mutually seal with each other. That's called a true lover. So when your heart or your mind is filled with this great completion and it's flowing all over and all of them are filled with great completion, then this is when heart is connected with the heart. That's the common term today, that your heart is connected with my heart, then my heart would be filled with you. So if your heart is connected with my heart, then your heart would be filled of me, would be filled with me. So that's the heart seal. So in terms of the Buddha, it's the secret mind that the Dharma flows and everyone receives the flow of the secret mind. So at first the great completion was transmitted among the Buddhas, and then the 5 Dhyani Buddhas transmitted to Vajrasattva. And Vajrasattva is a Sambhogakaya Buddha, because the Dharmakaya Buddha has no form, but Sambhogakaya Buddha has a form, and that was Vajrasattva. So it was transmitted to Vajrasattva from the 5 Dhyani Buddhas. So Vajrasattva received the great completion Dharma. So from the Adi Buddha, Samantabhadra Tathagata, and then the 5 Dhyani Buddhas and all the other Buddhas, and the third was Vajrasattva. And Vajrasattva was a Buddha of Sambhogakaya, or reward body, light body. And Vajrasattva emanate Vajrapani Bodhisattva. Vajrayana
那是第
Bodhisattva.
三个传承。
That was the
金
third
刚手菩
lineage.
萨到了天界，
And
他到了天界，
Vajrapani went to the heavenly
到了
realms,
33天的刀立天。
to the 33 Indra heavens.
33天那时候有500个。
At that time, in the 33 heavens, there were 500 heavenly princes.
圣心天子。
One of them is called the
金刚手菩
Sheng-Yen
萨就显了圣心天子，圣心天子作为
heavenly
大
prince.
圆满法在天上界的传承的。
So Vajrapani selected
就
the
是圣
Sheng-Yen heavenly
金刚手菩
prince
萨
as
给
the
圣心天子灌顶，
receiver of this transmission.
9次地。
So Vajrapani conferred the empowerment to
这种
Sheng-Yen
传承
heavenly
叫做
prince.
持名传承。
That was the transmission in the
什么
heavenly
叫做
realms,
持名
and
传
this
承？
transmission was called
持
the
名传承
mantra recitation transmission.
以后呢，弥勒菩
What
萨
is
下
that?
生的时候，
That's
弥勒
very
菩萨
simple.
下生到人间
In the
来
future, when
弘法
Maitreya
三会度众
Bodhisattva
生
came to
全
the
部都是持
Saha
名传
world,
承。
and in
他从
the
心
dragon
中放一道
flower
光
deliverance,
出来，
they
这个
all
光
the
啊
transmission
把
of
大家
the
的心
mantra
啊这样一
recitation.
照一照，
He would emit
你就
light
马
from
上
his
明心
heart,
见性。
and when it
得到
reflects
明心见
upon
性的
all of
传
you, all of
以
you
及
would gain enlightenment.
南无布达呀，
And then with one statement, Namo
你就
Buddhaya,
这个光就照到你，
then the light
光就
would
照
be
到你，
emitted
你
upon
一切的
you.
业障就全部
Then
通通
all
消
your karma would be
那个时候
completely
龙华
eradicated.
三会，他
And
就
at
把
that time,
所
the
有的
three
众生
meetings
全
of
部
the
渡到
dragon
渡到
flower
天上界去，渡到这个
would,
佛国净土，
would deliver all
那是弥
sentient
勒
beings
菩
to
萨
the
的
Buddha
持
lands.
名传承。
That's the lineage of
当初的时候
Maitreya
在天
Bodhisattva
上界的
on
传
the
承
recitation
就是金刚手
transmission.
菩萨以大圆满9次第的光
So
照圣心
Vajrasattva
天子，
used the light of the great completion
圣心天子
Dharma
就得到
upon
大
the
圆满，
Sheng-Yen heavenly prince, and
这很厉害。
so he
这个光
gained
哦
the
叫做
lineage
持
of
名
the
传
great
承
completion
光
Dharma.
一照，你马上
So
就清
this
楚
light
明白
is called
明心见性
the lineage of the
最后这个圣心
clear
天
light
子
holder, clear
他
light
就
holder.
转世到人间来，
And this Sheng-Yen heavenly prince
乌金国
was reincarnated in the human world as a prince of
他的名字叫
Udayana country. It's called
啊，不是我讲过那
is
个
called the
是
Prahevajra.
集喜金刚，
It's not the Hevajra
在
that I
这个
expounded,
西藏的金刚
but he is called
就叫做
Prahevajra, or
佛
called
界就叫
Garab
做金
Dorje.
刚集喜金刚，
So
他的
Garab
名字
Dorje.
集喜，他转世
or
成为集喜
Prahevajra.
金刚。这个时候啊，
So he
金
was
刚手菩萨又
reincarnated
来
as this Garab Dorje.
又
And
给
at
他
this
灌
time,
顶
Vajrapani
给这个
appeared
这个集
and
喜金刚
conferred
人间的集
empowerment
喜金刚灌
on the Garab Dorje of in the
集喜
form
金刚
of a
一
human
灌顶
being.
呢，他
And
又得到
once he gained
大
the
圆满九次
empowerment,
地
he
就是这个
gained
人
the
间的
great
传承就开
completion
始。
Dharma. And that
再
was
来
the
人间
start
的传
of
承
the
就变
worldly
成
lineage.
口耳传承，
And the
我的嘴
lineage
巴讲，
became the
已
oral
经
transmission.
给你灌顶。
It was
这个口
spoken
耳
from
传
the from the mouth, and you listen with your ears. That's called
那
oral
么集喜
oral
金刚呢，到
transmission.
最后把大圆满9次地法
And
传
then
给一个
Garab
人，
Dorje
这个人叫做什么？
transmitted the 9 stages of great completion
知道的。
Dharma to
你们上次知道没有？
who knows?
啊？嗯，不是，还没有到那里，中间还有一个。啊，你们都没有读过啊？
You don't know?
那我只好讲，好像是大吉祥有，不知道对不对？大吉祥有，啊，就叫大吉祥有。集喜金刚把这个法
To
传给了大吉祥，
Manjusri Mitra?
这个大吉祥有
Tachishang
呢，
Yu.
再把这个法
So Garab Dorje transmitted to Manjusri Mitra, and then he transmitted to Sri Singha. And then Sri Singha transmitted the 9 stages of the Great Completion to Padmasambhava.
哇，这个传承在人间里面就比较久啊，传给莲花生大师。
The transmission in the world is a little bit longer, finally to Guru Padmasambhava. And Sri Singha also transmitted to Vairochatna, that was a Tibetan, and an Indian, Guru Padmasambhava. And when Guru Padmasambhava entered Tibet, he transmitted to the king of Tibet, King Trisong Techin, and also to Ishi Chogal. Which is his most important contribution.
赤松德真王，他托托学大圆满九次第，那么他本身学的并不是很
what they learn on the 9 stages of great completion, we could say that it was not understood totally. So that's why, because King Trisong Techin did not comprehend the great completion totally, Guru Padmasambhava hid the teaching inside his brain, the king's brain. So Samantabhadra to Guru Padmasambhava, to King Trisong Techin, to Ishi Chogal. And because Ishi Chogal knew that Tibet, that Buddhism in Tibet would be eliminated, that's why she and Guru Padmasambhava hid all the great completion Dharma in Tibet, Nepal, Bhutan, and all the surrounding areas, inside caves, in the sky, at the bottoms of the lakes, inside trees. That's how it was. And then later on, Lung Ching-pa and Ching-me Ling-pa, these 2 gurus were the most important Tertons, the discoverer of these hidden treasures, and they discovered all these hidden teachings and compiled them into the 9 stages of the Great Completion Dharma. And Lung Ching-pa also compiled it to become the Lung Ching-pa essence. And what was the fastest lineage? Of course, the secret mind, the heart-to-heart transmission is fastest. There's this joke. There are 3 shops who are selling the same thing. And these 3 shops are competing because they're selling the same things. And they're next to each other. And they're competing for business. The shop on the right had a board that said it's big discount, very cheap. And the one on the left had even bigger sign. It's big cut sales, big sales. And then the shop at the middle said, enter here. This one said it's big discount, cheapest. Over there is big sale. And then the shop at the center, all it said is enter here. Which one's fastest? Of course, the entrance.
传承就是这个样子。
That's how lineage is.
弥勒菩萨度众生。
When Maitreya Bodhisattva delivering sentient beings would be very fast through the clear light holder, and he emits the light from his heart, and all karma would be eradicated. And then Namo Buddhaya, immediately you would fly to the Buddha land. That deliverance is fastest. And in the future, will we come across Maitreya Bodhisattva, that he emit his light upon us, that all karma is eradicated, and what's left is Buddha nature, and immediately we go to the Buddha land. And we don't have to say so much. Big discount, big sales, cheapest. Liquidation sale that we saw that often in Taiwan. There's no use. The most useful one is Maitreya Bodhisattva descending, emitting light upon you. All karma is eradicated. What's left is Buddha nature, and the Buddha nature immediately attain Buddhahood. There's no need for oral transmissions. Grandmaster also received the empowerment of Guru Padmasambhava. I've written in my book. In my very early books, there were 2 empowerments by Guru Padmasambhava. Guru Padmasambhava brought me. My soul left my body, and Guru Padmasambhava brought my soul, my spirit, to fly to Tibet, to Nepal. I wrote it in my book, Nepal. And there was a cave, and there was a charnel ground, a burial place. And Guru Padmasambhava said, doesn't matter who Sheng-Yen is, I will eat you up. And he took me and to enter his mouth, and I descended from his body and got out from his secret part. That was scary. There's this joke about human body. So Guru Padmasambhava opened his mouth, ate me up, and then I got out from his secret part. So it's the same as purifying all the contaminants of my body. It's like that clarity holding limit transmission. So immediately he ate me up and gave birth. So someone went to the shop and he got slapped on his face. And the boss asked what happened. Yesterday, there was a girl that said that her grandma has a birthday, so asked me to send the cake to her. I didn't know how old the grandma was, so I asked her. And then she slapped me. Why? And he said, I don't know. I just asked her, how big is your grandma? But the sound grandma in Chinese also sound like your boobs. How big are your boobs? It's a play of words in Chinese. They are the same pronunciation for grandma and Guru Padmasambhava. It grandmaster. Then I got out from his secret chakra. I didn't feel anything. I just went in and came out. I didn't know how big his secret part was. I didn't know. So I came out. Still me. But by swallowing me up and then let me out is that so that you retain only the Buddha nature and eradicate the rest. And the second empowerment is Guru Padmasambhava, radiate great light. It's very bright, luminosity, very great radiance. And there were 500 manifestations of the cultured and the wrathful Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Herukas. And all these were emitted upon me. So this was the empowerment of 500 peaceful and wrathful deities. That was incredible. And in my brain, recently I often bless myself in the future. In the past, I bless others. I first visualize my yidam, and then I extend my hand and starting to give blessings on the heads. In Taiwan, every time it takes 1.5 to 2 to 3 hours, and here it ends before it even starts. It's a huge difference. There were tons of disciples from Southeast Asia flew to Taiwan, and every Saturday the ceremonies we have 10,000 to 2,000 people. And this is Professor Ye had set up the Professor Club of True Buddha School. They are all professors, started by her. She is a professor of education. She discovered all True Buddha School students who are professors or doctors of philosophies, PhDs. And it was organized by her, and she is one of the emanation of Golden Mother. So now there's no need for you to ask for spiritual consultation from me. She can give spiritual consultation. She's an emanation of Golden Mother. There's no need to find me, you can find her. Now in Pingtung, there are many people always trying to meet her for consultation. And she's very, very busy. And she gave consultation to all the professors and to the doctors of philosophies. And all of them cried and were very moved. They cried and touched. So they're willing to join this Professor Club of True Buddha School. So if you watch the webcast, from the guest list, they are all professor. So I almost feel like I'm the professor of professors because my disciples as if they're all professors. That was all organized by this Professor Ye. So she has the great credit is due to her. She's an emanation of Golden Mother. So she's number 2.
简单了，而且他现在他一开始很多灵感，很多灵感。
She has lots of
一给他加持，他一问世，
responses as soon as I give her blessing, and her consultation is very accurate. You can just ask her. Everyone that she told all cried and kneeled down.
这个菩萨的灵感非常的灵验。
So that's how the transcendental power, the spiritual response of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
在我脑海里面，所以我经常加持自己。
So recently, I often bless myself. Every time before giving Dharma teaching, I would bless myself. It's in my brain, and so that, and then what kind of insight I would gain, and then I would teach it to you in totality. So Guru Padmasambhava, at that time, one time Grandmaster was reincarnated in Tibet, and at that time Guru Padmasambhava blessed me and hid the Dharma teachings inside my brain. In the past, I had written this book, Completion of Tantrayana. You can read this book. And what I teach now is probably about the same. And I wrote that was Po Shen, actually the same as Pu Shen Wang, which is Samantabhadra. So the 9 stages of the Great Completion Dharma is from my brain by blessing, and then the insight would come out. So first I would talk about the origin of the Great Completion first, because Grandmaster has this Dharma, the hidden Dharma treasures. Because it's in my brain, by giving it a blessing, I would gain insights, then I can give the teachings. I will teach it 100%, and I will give it all to you.
这里有一个笑话啦，跟大家谈一谈，笑笑也好。
There's this joke. It's good to laugh, just be relaxed, because human life is just a joke.
有一个，也就是书记啊，在中国大陆叫书记啊，书记是总书记。
Party secretary in China, we call it the premier, the head of state of China. So, and for every province, they also have the provincial secretary, or there's a secretary for every region. And Master Ling, your father is the secretary of Harbin city. So if Master Ling instead became the party's chief secretary, that would be incredible, because that would be the head of state, and that would be Xi Jinping, Mr. Xi. So Master Lin Yin's father was also the party secretary. That's quite incredible. So the secretary asked the farmer, so if you have 100 hectares of land, could you donate it to the government? Yes, the farmer said. He's very generous. And then he asked the farmer, if you have $1 million, would you willing to donate it to the country? And he said, yes. If you have one cow, would you want to donate it to the country? And the farmer said, no. And the secretary, And the farmer said, because I really have one cow.
师尊讲这个笑话呢是有意义。
So there's the meaning by telling this joke. I will teach all of the 9 stages of the Great Completion Dharma to all of you.
这个免费赠送
Free, for free.
因为啊，这个红教的大圆满九次地
Because the 9 stages of the Great Completion Dharma of the Nyingma
它的
Tantrayana
流传啊，
has
现
the
在所有西
oldest
藏民众
lineage,
几乎对大圆满九次地法
and
非
it's
常的
being
向往，
transmitted
很凌乱，没有争
that
议，
all
很凌
the
乱。
various
师尊特别
Buddhist
把
sects
整理特别讲给大家，是不一样的大圆满
really look or search or seek for this great completion, but it was very chaotic. It wasn't
红教
very
是这样子。
complete and
他
organized.
本来他
So
的传
Grandmaster
下来
would
以后
teach.
虽然很普及，
So
但
although
它被
it's very
南达马
popular
瓦这个也就是
when it was
西
in
藏
Tibet,
最后一个皇，最后
the
一个王
last,
把它
and then later,
把
the
所有的
last
佛
king
法
of
全部灭
Tibet
亡就那时候了的所有出
killed
家
off
人
all
到处
Buddhism in Tibet.
所有的那个秘法
So all the practitioners, Buddhist practitioners, went into hidings,
跟莲花生大师，他就藏在岩洞，
and then
藏在
Guru
这个
Padmasambhava and
藏在
Ishichoga
藏
hid
在
the
海
Dharma
藏
teachings
在很多
in the caves, in the
通通都是
sky,
不一样
in the
不一
at the
样
bottom of the
地方
lakes, in the
藏在
trees,
灰尘
at the different places,
通通
many
都
of
藏
them.
起来
They were all hidden.
到后来到了以后呢，才有人去挖出来，去把它挖掘出来。
And then only at the later time, the Tertons,
大圆满
some people
九次地法
discovered the
这样子的
teachings.
法门，当然它会分散掉，没有人
So
整理。
this kind of Dharma
到了以
teaching
后呢，
is quite
一个就是
dispersed.
红教方面有一个
And
流浪的僧人，
Nobody
他
compiled
独
it.
生的流浪
And
僧
that
人，这个
was
大树儿，
the
他把它
Drupa.
收集，
That was one
小树儿
wanderer that
到了
discovered all
这
the
个
teachings,
更小的树儿
and then the smaller
弘扬出
so
去，
compiled
但
it,
是也
and
是
then
很
the,
散，
even the
这
smaller
叫做山树儿。红教
Terton
最早的
that
灵法派
disseminate
其实是山树
the
儿
teaching.
去整理这些经典，
So at the early
就
Nyingma
是山
Pa,
树儿。
there were 3
山树儿的
Tertons
传承到
who
现在已经落后。
compiled this
你看
teaching.
红教啊，没有主要的核心人物出来。
But nowadays it's already
它到红教的主要核心在哪里
obsolete. You
当
know,
然它
from
有
Guru
信仰
Padmasambhava,
民族领
now
袖就是红教
Nyingma
的信仰
Pa is not
但
very
是没有一
strong.
个领导人。
There is no strong
西
leader.
藏密宗，你看比较看看，
Just compare it in the
我们从
Tibetan
现在
Tantrayana
执政的这个黄教，黄教
from
有达赖喇嘛
the
有
one
班禅
in
喇嘛
at the throne now
有核
is
心
from
人
the yellow sect. There's Dalai Lama, Panchen
那
Lama,
么也有
and
前
there's
藏
the
啊，在
the
拉萨
center
布达拉
administration.
宫有在
And
这个
then
有三
at
大
the Potala Palace,
有三
the
大寺
three
哲
great
蚌寺
temples,
啊，色拉寺、甘丹寺有三个
the
很主要的
Japa,
寺
Sera, and
那有主
Samye
要的人，一个是班
monasteries.
禅，一个是达赖，
And the
还有
key
核心人
figures,
黄
Panchen
教。
and Dalai Lama,
那么
and
花
the
教呢？
core committee. And for
花
the
教
Sakya
它本
sect,
身有核心人物，
they also
它的
have
法
the
王
core
现在目前的法王就
figures,
齐庆啊，
and the
Ching
Dharma
法王
king is Chichin,
另外还有一个达钦法王在
and
西安，
also Dachin Dharma king
那
in
第二法
Seattle.
王达
the second
在西安。
Dharma king in
这两个
Seattle.
法王，它有传承。
So they have two
它
Dharma
的
kings
核
and
心人物
lineage.
是昆氏家族，它是由
And the core figures
由家
are
族
from
在传
the Kunsu family.
也是
So
活
they are
活
not
也有活活传承
reincarnation.
但是
They are
一般来讲
also
他们的
reincarnated
是昆氏家族，
Rinpoche, but mostly it's
还有主
a
要的寺
family
庙
lineage.
叫萨迦寺
And they have a main temple called the Sakya temple.
的花教。那么
That's
白
the
教
Sakya
呢？
sect. And then the
白教是格己
Kakyupa,
派，
Kakyu sect,
格己派有没有核心人物？有啊，
are there core
格己派的核
figures
心
there?
人物
Yes.
就是那个大宝法王，
So the
黑帽
Dharma
的
king, the
大宝
black
法
hat
跟红帽
Dharma
的
king, and the red
大
hat
西杜巴，
Dharma king,
大西杜巴，红
Tasitupa.
帽的大西杜巴跟黑帽的这个大宝法王，他
And
们是核心
the
人。
red hat Tasitupa and the black hat Dharma
它
king,
主要的寺庙呢，
they were the core
当然也有
figures.
楚普
And the
寺
main temples,
啊，大宝法王最主要的是楚普寺，
Tupu
现在在
temple
印度西京的
in the
这
Sikkim,
个
India.
叫什么寺啊？
What is it called?
啊，你们上师们，大宝法王
The
的
Dharma
的
masters.
寺庙叫什么寺？
What is the
没
temple
有一
of
个
the
人知道
Dharma。king?
龙德寺，阿弥陀佛。
Called
你
Longtu
们当什
temple.
么上师啊？
What Dharma masters are
龙
you
德寺在西京的龙德寺，就大宝法
in
王的寺庙
Sikkim?
在印度。
Longtu
啊，在
temple,
西藏的是楚
Drag
普寺，
Virtue temple in
它
India.
的核心的寺庙
And in Tibet, Chuku temple.
啊，它有
Those were the main
Tashitu
temples.
的那个八棒寺。
Dasitu, the Papang temple.
来中国弘法那一位
And the one who went to China
贡嘎
to spread Buddha
老
Dharma,
贡嘎活佛，贡
Gongka
嘎活佛的
Rinpoche,
这个贡嘎山的贡嘎寺，
and the
Oh.
Gongka temple of
它
the Gongka
有
mountain.
三个主要的
So
道
three
场
main
很大，
centers, huge
红教呢
centers.
没有核心人
And
物，
for the red sect, Nyingma, there's
灵
no
马派
key
很
figure.
善，没有核心人物。教主，
Who is the leader?
人家那个
No, no
啊
one.
在这个黄教有班禅达赖。
In the yellow
White
sect,
Jiao.
there are Dalai Lamas
the
and
Dao
Panchen
Bao
Lama. In
Ah,
the white
Dasitu.
sect, there's
the
the
贡嘎活佛，他们
great
是
king
最主
Dasitu,
要的啊这是
Gongka
核心人物
Rinpoche.
那么
Those were the
花教
key
呢
figures.
昆
And the
氏家族
Sakya sect,
昆氏家族，
there's the
就
Kunsu
是
family,
喜庆跟
Qijin
达
and
庆
Dachin,
他们的家族。
their family,
红
their
教没有
clan. But no one in the red sect or Nyingmapa.
他没有什么呢？以前有一个顿珠法王，啊，顿
There
珠法
was
王
the Dharma king
Yes,
Tunzu.
也是自己，就他的弟子比较多了。
He
因为
had
现
a
在的
little
这个
more
假扎
disciples.
假扎仁波切，就
And
假
Jata
扎仁波切的
Chatrul
伯母
Rinpoche
那个
and the wife of
叫什么名字啊？
Chatrul Rinpoche.
刚刚来过我们西雅图雷藏寺，也到过台湾雷藏寺的啦。卡巴拉，卡马拉，卡马拉，卡马拉，
Kamala.
卡马拉伯母，卡马
The
拉伯母
Kamala Buddha Mother.
来过我们这个台湾雷藏寺。
Visited
Seattle.
Taiwan Lizang Temple and visited here Seattle
就
Lizang
假扎
Temple.
仁波切是红教的
Chatrul
104
Rinpoche
岁的，
is already 104 years old.
他以前在尼
Was
泊尔
one of
有
the
一个
leaders of the
Ujin
Nyingma sect.
乌金住祖仁波切，他是
And
红
there's
教。
Ujin Tuku
还有一个
Rinpoche.
西康的大活佛，在中原弘法是大上师，
And then the Nona
师尊的人间传承
in so the
是
Grand
罗
Master's
那上
lineage
师，
in the
西
world
康的罗那上师
from Sikang,
传法给了明和尚，
Master
了
Lona
明和尚
transmitted
传法
to
给
the
我，然后
Venerable
给我
Mang
灌
Liao Ming, And Venerable Yang Ming empowered me. I did not know the 9 stages of great completion, but he already gave me the empowerment. So I have the human transmission. Venerable Mang Liao Ming in Sichuan followed Master Lona. So I had to tell you clearly that in the clear light holder transmission, Guru Padmasambhava hid the Dharma transmission inside the brain. So I have this secret mind transmission. And then another one that's rarely encountered by other people and rarely discussed is the pure transmission in meditation. Like when the MC said, enter into samadhi. So we formed the meditation mudra. And first I did the 9-cycle Buddha breathing. White light entered the right nostril, 1 cycle, out from the left nostril, in from the left nostril, out from the right nostril, in from both and out from both nostrils. First perform this 9-cycle Buddha breathing. That's the first section. Left, right, left, both, back and forth 9 times. And then, because you're focusing on this breathing, then you would become focused. And then when you're in concentration, the Dharma flow would come. In meditation, you close your eyes, the Dharma flows into you and you enter into samadhi. At that time, you would be single-minded. At that time, when the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas give you instruction and would teach you about the great completion, and another Buddha would instruct you, and another Buddha would give instruction how to do it, how to practice it, and what is the key points. Most important thing is in the Ati Yoga. The 9 stages of great completion is in the Ati Yoga. What is this 9 stages of the great completion Dharma? At the Rainbow Temple, I have said the 3 preliminaries for Sravakas, Prateka Buddha, and Bodhisattva. And there are the 3 yanas, Kriya, Charya, and Yoga. And the last 3, Mahayoga, Anu Yoga, and Ati Yoga. Altogether, 9. That's the 9. And then I asked, this 9 stages Dharma in this human world, who have expounded this 9 stages of great completion? The first 3, Sravaka, Prateka, and Bodhisattva, were taught by Sakyamuni Buddha in the human world, had been taught, was expounded by Sakyamuni Buddha. The next 3, Kriya, Charya, and Yoga, were spoken by Vajrasattva, were transmitted by Vajrasattva. And the last 3, Mahayoga, Anu Yoga, and Ati Yoga, were taught by who? By Samantabhadra Tathagata, transmitted by Kuntum Champo. Now you understand what are the 9 stages of great completion Dharma. And tomorrow I will continue. Om Mani Padme Hum.